I talk about a pretty healthy variety of things on my channel, right? Drama, healthy stuff, some pretty negative things, if I'm going to be honest, and some funny stories. But one of the main things I want this channel to be about is cars, because I love cars. And if you haven't already seen by the title of this video, and also by my shirt, which is reversed, I'm using a mirror image on my webcam. I want to talk about the new Corvette C8 that is coming out next year, because I think it is an incredible machine. And it is supercar, beyond supercar territory for a third of the supercar price. We'll get into that. Listen, before I start this video, I know I'm very late to the party, right? This thing was announced like months ago. I made a video on the new Bugatti before I made a video on the new Corvette, and saying new, kind of a little sketchy territory, because it's not a new model of the Corvette, right? It is still a Corvette C8. What it is a higher trim performance model of the Corvette C8, which is the Corvette C8 ZR1. This thing is absolutely bonkers. So for all my fellow car geeks and nerds out there, let me give you some specs. So the first thing we have here is a 5.5 liter V8 from General Motors. Now we all know General Motors, they love their V8, but what's really good about this car is that it's not a hybrid. This is a purely internal combustion engine, meaning there's no electricity when it comes to power. It has 1,064 horsepower from factory. Let that sit for just a second. Over 1,000 horsepower from factory. Do you realize how insane that is? That's like going to Zaxby's and buying the whole chicken coop for the price of a few chicken tenders. That is insane. That is a crazy amount of horsepower. That is one of the highest horsepower factors for a factory car. That is one of the highest numbers from a car from factory. That is just pure insanity. The C801 also features 865 pound-feet of torque and an 8,000 RPM redline, which is pretty good, pretty solid for a sports car, but it also features some enhanced body aerodynamics systems, which we'll get into in just a second. So upon first glance of this thing's beautiful butt, you can see a massive carbon fiber wing. This thing looks incredible. Right, I'm just going to say, I'm not usually a fan of the massive wings on cars, especially when it comes to JDM cars. I'm not really a big fan of the massive downforce sports car wings that they put on these things, but this isn't a JDM. This is a big body American red-blooded pure V8 car, and I love it. It fits the car so perfectly, and I honestly couldn't have asked for anything better. Not that I'm going to drive this car, because it's not my personal favorite Corvette, which I will get into in a second. It's still a great looking wing. And the front of this car, oh my god. Gosh, the front of this car looks so good. It features a massive carbon fiber front lip that spans the entirety of the front half of the car. It features the classic aggressive Corvette front grille with its really angry looking body lines and headlights. It's just a beautiful looking car, especially in the yellow. That Corvette yellow is just, it looks so good. It also features the classic Corvette rear vents, where it has one on the left and the right side, right in front of the rear wheels. So as the car drives really fast, which it's bound to because it's a twin turbocharged V8, as the car drives fast, air is sucked in through these vents and it cools off the rear tires and brakes, making for more efficiency with horsepower and stuff. Also, I know, a little side tangent, I know there's a little stain on my Corvette shirt that my lovely girlfriend got me. I was drinking some water with some flavoring in it and it got on my shirt and I haven't been able to get it out, and the laundry at my college has been backed up for weeks, so I need to wait until I get home for that. Also, speaking of college, I know I'm getting on a side tangent here, but it's 93 degrees outside and it's September 23rd, and it's 93 degrees. That's just pure insanity, but regardless, let's keep talking about this beautiful Corvette. Also, a little side note, I did forget to mention that all of these beautiful looking carbon fiber aerodynamic parts will be part of the carbon fiber aero package that comes exclusive to the ZR1. Also, another side note, all of these images are coming from Chevrolet.com, where they have an entire portion of their website dedicated to the new C8 I would recommend you go check it out. It's a beautiful looking website with all of these pictures in a much higher definition than I can provide on this YouTube channel. It is a great looking website, but let's get back to it. One of the main physical attractive points of the C8 is the rear split window. Now, this is a key factor of Corvette. All throughout Corvette's history, some models of some of their Corvettes have had this rear split window, which honestly has added to how iconic the Corvette really is. One of the most recognizable being that of the 1963 Corvette Stingray that does feature this rear split window, which, I mean, they're bringing it back in the future. This thing looks absolutely incredible. It fits so well. I don't know how to describe it. Everything about this car just matches and fits up perfectly. But for more of standardized, like technical inclusivities with this car. You have the, of course, carbon wheels, you have the carbon ceramic brakes, you have a ton of these different things. Also, those carbon fiber wheels are 10 spokes and they look really, really good. But again, that's besides the point. Now, enough about the body. I love talking about the body of this car because there's honestly hours worth of conversation to be had about it, but we have to move on to the interior because the interior is nothing to scoff at. So my personal favorite Corvette is the C706. I like the C706 the most because it's not the most expensive Corvette. It's also not the most powerful, but when you're driving a Corvette, people don't really look at it and think, oh wow, you're so powerful. People look at it and they think, oh wow, you're an old white dude. But regardless, I like the Corvette C706 because the exterior is my personal favorite and the interior is absolutely stunning. However, the C801 has the C8 Corvette interior, but with an upgraded everything, basically. Primarily the steering wheel. Now, Corvette, the recent Corvettes at least, have had this kind of strange square design steering wheel, and the Corvette C801 takes this to the next level. It will take the stitching, for example, that's one minor thing that will color match. They'll take the stitching and make it the same exact color as the paint, which I actually have done in my Subaru, which is a really nice touch. The steering wheel of the Corvette C801 is just full of carbon fiber. The center console is also full of carbon fiber. Everything is also driver focused. So if you're sitting in the driver's seat, every single thing that you, the driver, could possibly ever need to enjoy the ride, everything is facing you. Even the massive touchscreen in the middle center console of the car, which I'm actually not too much of a fan of. While the car is almost perfect, it's not entirely perfect. The steering wheel is also leather wrapped and it is heated because of course it is. Now, as it is per common practice of the Corvette models, there are two different trims or different 01, models that you could get for this car, and that is the 1LZ and the 3LZ models. The 1LZ models include, the basic Corvette CR01 stuff, but the 3LZ includes more speakers, shift paddles, microfiber stuff, better cameras, all of these things. So the 3LZ package, the entire title is the Chevrolet Corvette C801 3LZ, and that is the top of the line Corvette as of now. Well, at least we think. Listen, I know I've been using this entire video to glaze the ever-loving hell out of this new Corvette because honestly it deserves it. It's a good-looking car for over 1,000 horsepower from factory, and it's not going to cost anywhere near the price of a Ferrari, for example, and your average Ferrari will run you like 500 to 700 horsepower from factory. So this thing can beat a Ferrari in a race for a third of the price. That's insane. And also it's just straight out a good-looking car. But Chevrolet didn't stop there. General Motors is still in the oven cooking, and they're making something absolutely insane. So recently there have been a spike, I guess you could say, in car companies making track focused cars. Now, when I say track focused, I don't mean track exclusive. That is applicable to some companies, but most car companies, like let's take for example Lexus, they're testing out a new LFA style vehicle that is basically the LFA reimagined on the track. Corvette is doing the same thing with the Corvette C8 Zora. Chevy Corvette Zora spied testing with big wing, possibly 1,200 plus horsepower. Expected to arrive in the next few years, the Zora will add hybrid power and all-wheel drive to the Z01's already mighty powertrain. I guess I'm just alone on this one because 1,200 horsepower, all-wheel drive hybrid system. This Corvette is like a Bugatti, because if you remember, the Bugatti Told Me On, which is a car I made a video about, also has over 1,000 horsepower, also all-wheel drive, also a hybrid. This thing, although I do feel like this thing is going to cost well over 200 grand, but 1,200 horsepower from factory from an American car. That is unheard of. The Corvette C801 Zora does look a lot like the basic C80, well, basic. It does look like the C801, but that's to be expected, right? If this thing were to have 1,200 plus horsepower from factory, that would quite literally be revolutionary. With all the aforementioned upgrades to this beautiful beast of a car, it would be a track monster and a massive win for the American car scene. But that's about it. I'm currently sweating my ass off in this chair, so I'm going to go stand up and walk around a little bit, hopefully get all the sweat off my body, because it is, again, 93 degrees on September 23rd, 93 degrees in September. This weather is insane. But regardless, I guess the heat's making me a little bit crazy for these cars. But, you know, thank you guys so much for watching. And also thank you for the massive amount of support on my recent videos. I've been seeing a pretty solid increase in viewership with my longer form content. So I want to make a new goal for myself. I want each video to be at least 10 minutes long, which I believe I can do. I also want to stop swearing in my videos. I mean, I usually don't swear, and whenever I do, I censor it out. But I just feel like I want my channel to be more centered around the general viewership. You know, I want to have some jokes here and there, maybe the occasional inappropriate joke or the dark humor joke, but I generally want my channel to be an experience that everyone can watch and learn something from and maybe get a laugh on or two. You know, just a general fun watching experience, which I believe you, my audience, do indeed deserve. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching and stay safe. Also, especially stay safe if you're going to drive this car, because this thing has some crazy power and you're definitely going to start wheel spinning if you aren't used to this kind of power. But yeah, stay safe.